You see that? That's the beginning of a nightmare that could end up looking like this. People sometimes confuse it with termite damage, and it has a misleading name, dry rot. A homeowner came into my shop today to show me pictures after getting a huge quote. He wanted me to identify the damage, but the real question was, how could something called dry rot come from a moisture problem? It's one of the many misunderstandings that cost people a fortune. So today I'm gonna teach you how to locate dry rot, show you a test to see if it's structural damage. But first, we're gonna help you identify it and tell it apart from other damage like termites, and then explain what all this means for your wallet. The #1 sign of dry rot is this: cubical cracking. See how it looks burnt and it's breaking into square patterns? Now that's your smoking gun. The term dry rot is just an inaccurate way to describe wood rot. What people call dry rot is actually a common type of wood decay called brown rot. But so I don't confuse anyone, I'm gonna keep calling it dry rot for the rest of the video. Sorry. It's important to note that all wood rot, including dry rot, needs moisture to grow and spread. Now you might see white or web-like strands, or even something that looks like an orange or brown pancake-looking mushroom growing on the wood. Damaged wood will feel soft and spongy when it's damp. Ugh. And when you press on it, it might crumble when it's dry. And then there's that unmistakable earthy smell like a damp basement. Ugh. But don't mix it up with termite damage. This type of damage costs Americans more than $5 billion in damage each year, and most insurance plans don't cover the damage. Termites eat the wood from the inside out, so you might not see it by looking at it. Here's the main difference: dry rot crumbles, termites tunnels. So if you break a piece open, you'll see a network of tunnels, sometimes called galleries, that honeycomb and often follow the grain of the wood. They usually leave tiny six-sided, multicolored pellets that look like piles of sand or sawdust behind. So if you see those pellets, you're looking at drywood termites. Subterranean termites come from the ground into your home. They need moisture to survive, so they build mud tubes like tiny little dirt highways to travel from the ground into your home to eat the wood. So keep your eye out for pencil-sized mud tubes on your foundation, your walls, and your floor joists. So if you see that, then you got a much bigger problem than dry rot. But my customer's head was spinning with questions, like how can we tell if it's structural damage? What if it's bigger than we think? Well, let me show you how to locate dry rot that's tough to see with the naked eye. Rot loves to hide. If you remember from earlier, we mentioned that rot needs moisture to grow. In fact, it needs a steady flow of moisture to grow. Now we're talking behind peeling paint, under old window frames, or in damp crawl spaces, really anywhere where you can't see. Even if the wood dries out, don't be fooled. The fungus spores are just lying dormant. They're basically like seeds waiting for the next rain to bring your nightmare back. That's why the poke test is your best friend. Take a screwdriver and probe any suspicious areas. Even if the surface looks fine, a soft spot is a red flag. You can also find rot underneath the surface by using a moisture meter. If a certain spot that you're scanning has more moisture than the surrounding areas, then you most likely have some sort of fungal problem there. It's not a guarantee to identify rot, but at least it'll point you in the right direction. I've linked a couple of moisture meters in the description below, from the pro grade ones to the affordable ones that are perfect for homeowners. Now we earn a small commission on any purchase you make using one of our links. It helps us out here at K&J even if you don't buy the moisture meter. Okay, we figured out how to uncover hidden rot. That brings us back to my customer's other big question: how do I know if it's serious? How much damage is considered unsafe? Let's talk about structural integrity. All right, here's where you become a detective. The poke test is really gonna be your friend here again. Healthy wood is hard, and you shouldn't be able to poke the screwdriver in more than 1/8 of an inch into the wood. That's just for softwoods. The harder the wood, the more difficult to poke. Next, grab the handle of your screwdriver and firmly tap the wood every few inches. If it makes a sharp, solid sound, then you're good. If it makes a dull, hollow, or soft, dead sound, then you might be in trouble, my friend. That dull, hollow sound is a red flag. This will help you map out how far the rot goes into the beam, even if the surface looks good. And keep in mind, this sound test goes for both dry rot and termites. It's pretty safe to say that the structural integrity of a beam is compromised if the rot goes deep into the main support beam, more than half the width of the joist or beam. If it causes noticeable sagging or eats away more than 1/4 of the wood's thickness, then you're in trouble. Signs of dry rot in flooring can be hard to see because all of this is happening under the floorboards. You may find that the floor feels bouncy, drops away from the skirting boards, or floorboards may start to creak more. Now, my experience is in lumber, not engineering, so I can't give you advice on how to fix structural damage, or floorboards, or anything like that. I hope I've at least given you enough information to make a decision. Because sometimes hiring a professional can be the smartest and safest route for your home repair. But how do you spot a good pro from the bad apples we sometimes hear about in the comments section? A reputable contractor won't scare you or talk down to you. They'll explain the cause of the rot and suggest fixing that first. Get a few quotes and listen for clear answers, not just big bills. It's about being smart with your biggest investment. Believe me when I say I'm not trying to punch up or down at contractors. These professionals can be the best options for those who don't know what they're up against. But at least now you have the complete diagnostic toolkit to identify the problem yourself. You know how to find it, how to tell it apart from termites, and how to tell if it's a serious structural problem. But you remember that promise I made earlier? I told you I'd show you how to make this damage look like it never even happened. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in part 2 of this dry rot series. We're getting our hands dirty with a step-by-step repair, talk about the best products for the job, and then talking about the ultimate playbook for rot prevention so that this never comes back. The complete guide for fixing dry rot for good is in this video right here. We'll see you there, brother and sister. How's it look out there?
You go first, Kyle.
All right.
Ugh.